Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 5, text 4. We'll also cover 5. Sankhya Yogau Pruthak Bala Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekamapi Asthitaha Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam Yat Sankhyahi Prapyate Sthanam Tadyogairapi Gamyate Ekam Sankhyam Cha Yogam Cha Yah Pasyati Sapasyati. So, Krishna, in the previous verses, Krishna categorically said, yoga, bhakti yoga, or work in devotion, karma yoga, is better than taking sannyasa. Karma yoga visishyate. But now he is saying, he is changing the narrative. In one sense, he is not, but it appears that he is changing the narrative. And now he is saying both are same. He's saying in the fourth verse, Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Balaha. One who thinks they are different, they are Balaha. Bala means children or those who are ignorant. So Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Balaha Pravadanti na Panditaha. If one is a Pandita, a learned man, they say they are not different. Ekamapi Astitaha Samyag. If one applies properly to both any of these paths, Ekamapi, Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Either of these paths can give the same result. We have to carefully understand this. It is not to say, oh, you can take any path, ultimately you will get to the same point. Astitaha Samyak, you have to follow properly. And Prabhupada clarifies that, like for example, you have to sustain a tree or you have to bring up a tree nicely. So the process of Sankhya, analytical study, is that first you study the tree. You study the leaves, you study the branches, you study the trunk. And then ultimately, by your analytical study, you come to the point, oh, this tree is deriving energy and nutrition from the root. Anywhere else you pour the water, it does not sustain or nourish. Oh, you have to finally come to the root and then you start to water the root. This is the process of Sankhya. Whereas the process of Bhakti Yoga, or yoga in short, is you understand from the authority, from the spiritual master, from the scriptures, from Krishna, and you water the root directly without having to do all the analytical study, Sankhya. So that is what Krishna says. If you properly apply yourself even to Sankhya, by which you will come to the point that you have to water the root and then you will eventually water the root, or you directly water the root, it is the same thing, isn't it? Like Krishna also will mention in 7th chapter. Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavan mam prapadyate. After many, many births, a real gnani will come and surrender to me by dint of all his research. Only then his gnana is supposed to be perfect. He is supposed to be real gnanavan. But in bhakti, right from point 1, you are surrendering to Krishna. You are situated on the same level as a gnani. So effectively, both processes are same. If one process, or the Sankhya process, or the Gnana process, or the Sannyasa process, gets you to the proper derivative, or gets you to the proper outcome. Otherwise, the typical Mayavadi Gnanis, they take people away from Krishna. That is not true proper Sankhya. Proper Sankhya is when you find the root of the tree, super soul of everything, Krishna, and you serve the super soul or Krishna, then both processes are same. That is why in the next verse we read, Yat Sankhyehi prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate. Whatever result you attain from the sthanam, prapyate sthanam, whatever position you attain by Sankhyehi, Sankhya Yoga, tad yogairapi gamyate. That the same thing in Bhakti Yoga also you will attain. So therefore, ekam Sankhyam cha yogam cha yah pasyati sa pasyati. One who sees yah pasyati, ekam, both are same, that person rightly sees. So as I said, either you can analytically study and find the true position of yourself, like in the Sankhya Yoga, they study these 24 elements. They divide the whole existence into 24 elements. Like there are Pancha Mahabhuta, isn't it? Earth, water, fire, air, sky, or ether. Then there is 5 working senses: the hands, legs, the reproductive organs, the evacuative organs, the vocal organs. Then there is 5 knowledge acquiring senses: the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. And then there is 5 sense objects. For the eyes, the sense object is the form. For the skin, the sense object is the touch. Like that, there is smell, there is sound, there is hearing, and all these kind of 5 sense objects. So far we have Panchamahabhuta, 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 sense objects. So there are 20. And then there is Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, mind, intelligence, and Ahankar, false ego, and contaminated consciousness, or the sum total of the material elements. There are 24 elements totally. And then once they found these 24 elements, they tried to find, oh, there must be another entity who is operating on these 24 elements. Oh, that is the Jivatma. And then there is time factor under which we are operating. And then there is a overseeing super soul. So there are this kind of analysis being done by Sankhyas or the Gnanis. And when one finds, oh, there is origin of everything is Krishna, the super soul, and whose origin is ultimately Krishna, and then engage in the service of Krishna. So a real Sankhya yogi comes to this kind of understanding. So if you want to dumb it down, the path of Sankhya versus Bhakti can be compared in a layman's terms like this. Like many of us are used to this. Say if you are installing software on the computer, when you download and click install, first a dialog box will come with lot of material. I agree to these terms and conditions. What are the terms and conditions? They'll be like, you have to keep scrolling down for a minute, isn't it? Lots of terms and conditions. So either you can read every term and condition, and finally there will be a checkbox. You check the box, yes, I agree to the terms and conditions, and you click continue. Or without reading, your friend or your father is there. Yes, this is a good software. You don't have to worry about all of that. Just go ahead and click continue and go ahead and install. So it saves you time, isn't it? You don't have to go through, figure out, oh, should I do this? Or what will it happen if I install, or if this behaves like this? So you don't have to worry about all of that because you are under an authority who has told you this is a good software. So this is the difference between a Sankhya yogi and a Bhakti yogi. Or sometimes you study through your courses, you get a job, and you are given an assignment for that. You have to learn a programming for that or whatever is required for that, and then you start to do that. Or if you know somebody in the company, you can directly learn what is required for that company and even be hired as an intern in the company and directly do the job without having to go through all of that. So this is the difference between Sankhya and Bhakti. So Bhakti means simply submitting to higher authority and engaging in the simple and sublime process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. These are the 9 processes of bhakti. Ultimately, the so-called Gnanis, ultimate realization of everything has to come to that point. Why not engage directly? So sometimes people, they see that they are working so hard, whereas the devotees are not working very hard. Of course, in India, you see a lot of devotees, they surrender themselves and join the temple as full-time brahmacharis. So they are not working outside. And they think, oh, these people are subsisting on the society. They're not doing anything about the society. They call them parasites. So one time Prabhupada was asked that question. There was a conversation between Prabhupada and one of his disciples. This happened in Calcutta in January 1977. So this disciple, he was asking, Srila Prabhupada, a newspaper came today from America, the Boston Globe, with a long article titled The Hare Krishna Puzzle. A statement by one woman describes the devotees as parasites. So Prabhupada is saying, no, we are not parasites. We are publishing the best literature in the world. Does this literature come from illiterate hippies? We are accepted by so many scholars. How are we parasites? An intelligent person is not supposed to work like an ass. If we are parasites, see the wonderful example he gives, then a high court judge is also a parasite. A rascal sees a judge sitting, talking a little, and getting a high salary, so he calls the judge a parasite. And then the disciple is giving the definition of a parasite. A parasite is one who lives off others. Srila Prabhupada. If I enjoy another's property without his approval, then I am a parasite. See, this is a very interesting point. So people who call parasite means what? One who lives off others' property. Right? A parasite is a germ. It's living off of our body. It makes the body as its source of food. It's a parasite. It doesn't work on getting food for itself. So, if I enjoy another's property without his approval, then I am a parasite. But we are not doing that. We are enjoying our father's property. Krishna is the proprietor. We are good children of Krishna. And Krishna says to everyone who takes shelter of him, don't worry, I shall give you everything. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. You just surrender unto me, I'll give you protection. Why do they say we are parasites? And the disciple is saying, oh, they are referring to the devotees begging in the streets. Srila Prabhupada. No, what we are doing is not begging, it is humbleness, humility. People are puffed up, so we are approaching them in humbleness. Besides, if I sell a book about Krishna, is that begging? Oh, Prabhupada, they see it as begging. Prabhupada, no, it is humbleness. In India, many highly scholarly persons beg. They are called Bhikshu Tridandi Swami. They beg to learn pridelessness and humility. In Vedic culture, it is allowed. The brahmacharis, sannyasis, the brahmanas are allowed to beg alms. And then the disciple is asking, but what if the culture is entirely different as in the West? They're not used to that begging culture. Prabhupada, yes, your culture is different. And therefore, youth are becoming hippies and the mothers are killing their own children in the womb, all in the name of quote unquote freedom. Actually, there is no culture in the West. Therefore, the whole atmosphere is abominable. But in a civilized culture, a young boy may beg as a discipline just to learn humbleness. Even though he may be from a big family, he begs. I mean, he's referring to the Gurukul system. He begs in order to become meek. And Jesus Christ said, to the meek, God is available. So Prabhupada is explaining all of this. So the devotees, they live off Krishna's property. Nobody can claim, oh, you're living off of our society, of our economy. Actually, Krishna gives the simple economic formula, which is Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yagnad bhavati parjanyo yagnaha karma samubhavaha. Living entities subsist on food grains, not industries, not tires, not nuts and bolts, which causes unrest and anxiety in the minds of people. The more industrialization, the more modernization of this environment causes more anxiety in the hearts. In the name of economic development, you're circulating a lot of money. Money is floating around in the society. Inflation is rising. The same goods which costed $1 will now cost $10. So for that you have to work so hard. Leaving family in one place, traveling long distances, losing your health, and spending so much time. Earlier, you used to simply live off of land with cows and having nice grains and nice time for Krishna consciousness, living with family and studying scripture, chanting Hare Krishna. But now it's in the name of economic development, we have invented so many things and dependent on oil. And when that goes off, everything is topsy-turvy. The previous culture was self-sufficient culture. You're not dependent on somebody else for your happiness. So, a Krishna conscious person or Krishna's design is that everybody has to live in a self sufficient way and live off Krishna's property. If you do yagna, yagnat karma samudbhavaha, yagnat parjanyad, from yagna comes rain. Your duty is to perform yagna or activities to please Krishna. From that comes the rain, which provides the grains, and we become happy with grains. That is a formula Krishna gave. So the devotees take up that formula. Devotees, whatever actions they do, that is for the pleasure of Krishna. To distribute books, to build temples, to preach Krishna consciousness, in so many ways, to feed prasadam to the poor. All these activities are authorized by Krishna, they are considered yagna. So they have only they have proper right to enjoy Krishna's property, not others. Others who are not doing yagna, yajnashishtashinah santo muchyante sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate te tu agham papa e pachanti atma karanat. Those who are so-called contributing to economy, but they're not offering yagna back to God in gratitude. They are thieves. Agham papa e pachanti atma karanat, because they are utilizing the God's resources for their sense gratification. So when we see devotees intelligently engaged, Prabhupada says the four classes of men: the intelligent, and sometimes they may see lazy, appear lazy. They are lazy intelligent, they are a top class. Lazy, not materially lazy. I mean, they are not like in the traditional bad terms. They may appear lazy, but they are fully active spiritually because they are intelligent, spiritually intelligent. They may be called lazy intelligent or the Brahmanas. They are not very eager to be active on the material platform. And then there is active intelligent, the Kshatriyas. They're very active. Politics, administration. And then there is a lazy fool who is like the Vaishyas or businessmen. They are smart, they don't work so hard, but they make a lot of money. That's why they are lazy. But they are foolish in the sense they are not spiritually interested, they're only interested in money. And then there is busy fool. So lazy intelligent, active intelligent, lazy fool, and busy fool. Busy fool is a Sudra. He is very busy. Oh, I want to do a lot of work. I want to support economy. I want to grow up in the ladder or whatever it is. But he is foolish to any spiritual progress. He's just wasting time, uselessly doing nothing. Just like a monkey. He's always busy, isn't it? But the end result is causing trouble for others. So in the one of the previous companies I worked, so there used to be some fun when somebody's, during lunchtime or whatever, they're working hard, or when there is somebody is going out for a coffee break or whatever, and somebody is working, they're not coming out from their cube, their desk, and then somebody will go and type a message to him, LBDN. So what is this LBDN? Look busy, do nothing. So it's of course a funny jargon just to make fun of that person. But actually it is that the case. Busy fool, we may do all kinds of so-called meaningful things, but if it is not contributing to our spiritual progress, we are just wasting time. Of course, Shastras say you should do your duty, not neglect your duty, but at the same time have a parallel spiritual program. If you don't have anything parallel spiritual, whatever you are doing is shrama eva hi kevalam. Life will come to an end and you have not cultivated any spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. You'll transmigrate into another body by dint of your sense gratificatory activities. You would have committed so many sinful actions. You'll transmigrate into another body, most likely an animal body, lower species. Shrama eva hi kevalam. All the work is futile. So one has to engage in devotional service. And this is perfect science. It's not, devotional service is not a sentiment, as much as people may think. Oh, it is meant for those who are ignorant. The Gnanis, they'll say, oh, this is people who cannot understand scripture. They just simply sing and chant and worship. But the Acharyas, the Goswamis, you see, Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Saddharma Samsthapakau Lokanam Hitakarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanyakaro. So they are Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunao. They are Nipuna, they are experts in Nana Shastra. After analyzing Shastras, they have come to the right conclusion of engaging in devotional service. And for the sake of Saddharma Samsthapana, for the Lokanam Hitakarina, to give benefit to people, they have taken Kaupina Kantashritau, they have taken loincloth and they are living off frugally and giving benefit to people. So devotional service is perfect and the Shastras are perfect. It is said that Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, if you read properly, you become the best knowledgeable person. Everything, economy, politics, sociology, agriculture, psychology, relational happiness, material happiness, everything you will have by following the scriptures, particularly Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So it's a great science. So a devotee is doing the best service even to the parents, even to the relatives, because Krishna says up to 14 generations Krishna will take care. They'll be liberated if you become a pure devotee engaged in service of Krishna. So how can you take care of yourself so many generations? Now people are struggling to take care of either their parents or their children. What to speak of other previous or next generations. By serving Krishna nicely, Krishna will personally take care of so many generations connected to you. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? So what is the first category? It's lazy intelligent, like the Brahmana category. They may appear lazy in terms of activity, but they are spiritually intelligent. From a material perspective, they may appear lazy, but they are spiritually intelligent.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. And to the extension of that question, Prabhuji, you mentioned parasites example today. So, how to take full-time brahmacharis? Lazy intelligent.
Yeah, as I said, from outside world's perspective, they are not working regular. A bachelor who is getting a job, software job, he goes to work morning, traveling a long time and working hard in the company, coming back late in the evening. Oh, he's working so hard and feeding his family and contributing to the economy, paying taxes and all of that. But a typical brahmachari surrendered full time in the temple, they may seem, oh, he's just not contributing to economy, not working hard. He's just coming and collecting donations. They may think like that. They may think he's lazy, but he's intelligent. He may be materially lazy, but he is fully active in spirituality. He's waking up much more than when you wake up. He's waking up at 3:30 in the morning.
True, that is all true. But what my question is, if everybody becomes like that, then how will this? How will everybody gets food to eat? If everybody becomes like full-time brahmacharis.
See, that is, firstly, it is not possible. Just like you're saying, if everybody becomes doctor, then who will be there for as a patient, right?
Nobody wants to be a patient though, but yeah.
Correct, right? So if everybody becomes an engineer, who will be taking care of our plumbing job, house construction, fixing things, administration? So naturally, people, whoever has interest in spirituality only, they will become brahmachari. How much ever you may try, right? And it is an important role. Just like you need a doctor, you need an engineer, you need a counselor, you need a plumber, you need a contractor. There's so many things. Naturally, people take whatever is their interest. How much ever you may go and preach, everybody become doctor. Is everybody becoming doctor? Even all children are not becoming doctor, how much ever you may try. So it's not possible that everybody will become a devotee, how much ever you may try. But as a duty, we are giving what Krishna is asking us to give. Take up devotional service. Whoever takes up, they become fortunate. Not everybody will take up.
So in this specific thing, I wanted to ask one more question. So I don't want to name any organizations or anything for the um, regarding donations. Let's say we often get a lot of queries on donations, even though we give so many times we get the same from the same person requesting multiple times. So how to consider that? Um,
See, one thing
when we
is,
are not giving, I feel bad when we are not giving to the same thing again and again, but to giving multiple varieties around. Or sometimes why these people ask again and again, so even getting that question is an aparad again, I think like that.
see, one thing we should understand, दातव्यम इति यद्दानं दीयते अनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम्. You should understand what is right donation and what is wrong donation. Okay. It is to be given according to Shastra to the right person or representing the right organization which is going to use that for Krishna conscious purpose. That is the right donation. And sometimes we may give Adesha Kale Yaddanam Apatrebhyascha Diyate. Donation should not be given to apatra, means those who are not qualified, those who misutilize that donation for wrong purposes. So first you should understand that. Secondly, we should have a limit. Of course, the ideal limit that Rupa Goswami set is 50%. 50% of our earnings, this is a Shastra saying, not I am saying, this is a said by Rupa Goswami, should be given as donation. But how many of us are doing? We are not doing. Of course, we may have other limitations or we may not have complete dependency on the Lord. So we may have our own calculations how to save money. But we may have a limit. Okay, I'll set aside 1%, 2%, 5%, 10% as donation. So within that limit, there is no harm to give to the right person, to the right organization, even though they may ask multiple times. It is not for their enjoyment they're asking. We should understand that.
It is not coming from Krishna conscious temples but other temples, so that then I'm doubtful.
Yeah,
So
then you should be clear. You should follow the scripture. If you have doubt, you should ask a devotee. Find out if it is apatra dhana, if it is dana in mode of ignorance or mode of passion, if it's not going to the right organization, using for the right purpose philosophically. And you should be straightforward and say, hey, we have commitment to give to this another place that we are regularly involved in. So this is only we can do. You can be, you can explain. It's okay. You know, in life, you cannot please everybody. It's another thing people fall into a trap
so
to.
it won't be considered as aparad.
No,
Okay.
because if by saying yes to somebody, you are saying no to Krishna. So better say yes to Krishna and no to somebody.
Okay. And other thing is, you also mentioned today about watering to the root versus other things. So difference between Sankhya and direct devotional service. So in that question, but initially to surrender, we might need to take that route. But then to understand and do our worship properly and to get to the Bhava state and to offer anything with Bhava, we need Sankhya. We need some understanding, right? So
Yes.
Sankhya is in one sense is also needed.
Yes. That's what Krishna is saying here. If you are properly guided, then that Sankhya is nothing but bhakti. Because in bhakti also there is knowledge involved, there is analysis involved. But the conclusion should not be different. The analysis, the knowledge, everything you use in bhakti should come to the conclusion of increasing bhakti for Krishna. Or whatever the acharyas have concluded, whatever Bhagavatam concluded. these Gnanis, they do mental speculation and they come to a different conclusion. That is incorrect. That is not supported. But if you come to the proper conclusion, then you are on the right path.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.